The lock clicked with a finality that seemed to echo through Jessica Roberts' entire body. She stood frozen in the center of Ashley Campbell's bedroom, her heart hammering against her ribs as she watched her best friend's hand linger on the door handle. The soft sound of the mechanism engaging felt like a promise and a threat all at once. "You can trust me," Ashley had said just moments before, her voice barely above a whisper. "I need you to know that you can trust me with anything." Now, with the door locked behind them and the late afternoon sunlight filtering through gauze curtains, Jessica felt the weight of those words settling around them like a spell. Ashley turned slowly, her green eyes holding something Jessica had never seen before, a vulnerability so raw it made her chest ache. "Jess," Ashley breathed, and there was something different in the way she said the name, something that made Jessica's skin tingle with electricity. "I've been thinking about what you said earlier, about feeling like you're living someone else's life." Jessica's mouth went dry. She had said that, hadn't she? In a moment of weakness over coffee that morning, she had let slip that she felt like she was wearing a costume that didn't quite fit, playing a role in a story that wasn't hers. She hadn't expected Ashley to remember, much less bring it up now, in the intimate sanctuary of her bedroom with the door locked between them and the rest of the world. "I think," Ashley continued, taking a step closer, "I might know exactly what you mean." The space between them felt charged, like the air before a storm. Jessica could smell Ashley's perfume, vanilla and something floral that made her dizzy. She could see the way Ashley's chest rose and fell with each careful breath, the way her fingers trembled slightly at her sides. "Ashley," Jessica whispered, but she didn't know how to finish the sentence. How could she put into words the longing that had been building inside her for months? How could she explain that every time Ashley complained about her boyfriend, every time she reached for Jessica's hand during movies, every time she looked at her with those impossibly green eyes, Jessica felt like she was drowning in feelings she wasn't supposed to have? "I keep thinking about kissing you," Ashley said suddenly, the words tumbling out in a rush. "Is that crazy?" "I keep thinking about what it would feel like to kiss you, and I don't know what that means, but I can't stop thinking about it." The world tilted on its axis. Jessica felt her knees go weak, felt the air rush out of her lungs in a soft gasp. Ashley was looking at her with such intensity, such desperate honesty, that Jessica felt like she might shatter from the force of it. "It's not crazy," Jessica managed, her voice barely audible. "It's not crazy because I think about it too. But to understand how they had arrived at this moment, this breathtaking, terrifying precipice, one would need to go back 3 months, to a different afternoon in a different room, when Jessica Roberts first realized that her feelings for her best friend were anything but simple. It had started, as these things often do, with something seemingly insignificant. Jessica had been sitting at her kitchen table, laptop open, attempting to focus on the quarterly reports that were due the next morning. The numbers swam before her eyes, meaningless figures that refused to add up to anything coherent. She had been staring at the same spreadsheet for 20 minutes when Ashley burst through her front door without knocking, as she had been doing for the past 2 years of their friendship. "I think David is going to propose," Ashley announced without preamble, dropping her purse on the counter and immediately moving to Jessica's refrigerator as if she lived there, which, in many ways, she did. Jessica's fingers stilled on her keyboard. David Martinez, Ashley's boyfriend of 8 months, a perfectly nice accountant with kind eyes and a stable job who treated Ashley well and made her laugh. Jessica should have been happy for her friend. She should have squealed with excitement, should have demanded details, should have started planning engagement parties in her head. Instead, she felt something cold and sharp twist in her stomach. "That's wonderful," she heard herself say, the words feeling foreign in her mouth. "How do you feel about that?" Ashley paused in her examination of Jessica's leftover Chinese food, her hand frozen on the container of lo mein. In the fluorescent light of the kitchen, her face looked pale, almost stricken. "I don't know," Ashley said quietly. "I mean, I should be excited, right? He's a good guy. He loves me. My parents adore him. It's what I'm supposed to want." Supposed to want. The phrase hung in the air between them like a question mark. Jessica closed her laptop and gave Ashley her full attention. This was what she did. She listened, she supported, she offered advice about relationships with men she could never quite understand. It was her role in Ashley's life, the supportive best friend who helped navigate the complexities of heterosexual romance from the sidelines. But, Jessica prompted gently. Ashley abandoned the takeout containers and moved to sit across from Jessica at the small table. Her green eyes were troubled, searching Jessica's face as if looking for answers to questions she couldn't quite articulate. "But sometimes I feel like I'm acting," Ashley admitted, "like I'm playing the part of someone who wants these things, the ring, the wedding, the house in the suburbs with the white picket fence, and I'm good at it, you know? I've been practicing my whole life, but lately when David talks about our future together, I feel like I'm suffocating." Jessica's heart clenched. She reached across the table instinctively, covering Ashley's hand with her own. The contact sent electricity shooting up her arm, a sensation she had been trying to ignore for months. "That doesn't sound like someone who's ready to get engaged," Jessica said carefully. "No," Ashley agreed, her voice barely above a whisper. "It doesn't." They sat in silence for a moment, Ashley's hand warm beneath Jessica's palm. The afternoon light streaming through the kitchen window caught the gold highlights in Ashley's brown hair, made her skin glow like honey. Jessica found herself memorizing the moment, the way Ashley's thumb absently traced patterns on the back of her hand, the way her lips parted slightly as she thought, the way she looked so young and lost and beautiful that it made Jessica's chest ache with unnamed longing. "What do you think I should do?" Ashley asked finally. It was the question Jessica had been dreading, because the honest answer, the answer that lived in the secret chambers of her heart, was run. Run away from David and his sensible proposal and his stable future. Run toward something else, something that scared Jessica too much to name even in the privacy of her own thoughts. Instead, she said what a good friend would say. "I think you should listen to your instincts. If something doesn't feel right, there's probably a reason for that." Ashley nodded slowly, but her eyes remained troubled. "Sometimes I wonder what it would be like," she said, so quietly Jessica had to strain to hear her. "To be with someone who really understood me, someone who knew me completely and loved me anyway." The words hit Jessica like a physical blow, because she did know Ashley completely, knew that she put hot sauce on everything, even ice cream, knew that she cried during commercials with dogs in them, knew that she had a scar on her left knee from falling off her bike when she was 7, and that she still slept with a stuffed elephant named Peanut that she'd had since childhood. Jessica knew all of Ashley's fears and dreams and quirks and imperfections, and she loved her not despite them, but because of them. But Ashley was talking about men, about finding the right man who could understand her. She wasn't talking about Jessica. "You'll find that person," Jessica said, the lie tasting bitter on her tongue. "Someone who gets you completely." Ashley's fingers tightened around Jessica's hand. "What about you? Don't you want that too? Someone who really sees you?" Jessica's throat constricted. The truth was, she had stopped looking for that person in men years ago. She had gone through the motions, dates that felt like job interviews, relationships that fizzled out after a few months when she couldn't muster the enthusiasm that seemed to come so naturally to her friends. She had blamed it on being picky, on having high standards, on simply not having met the right person yet. But sitting here with Ashley's hand in hers, feeling the familiar flutter in her stomach that she experienced every time Ashley looked at her with those green eyes, Jessica was beginning to suspect that the problem wasn't that she hadn't met the right person. The problem was that the right person was sitting across from her, asking for advice about marrying someone else. "I'm still figuring that out," Jessica said finally, which was perhaps the most honest thing she had said all day. Ashley studied her face with an intensity that made Jessica's cheeks burn. "You know what I love about you?" she said suddenly. "You never pretend to have all the answers. Everyone else in my life is so quick to tell me what I should do, what I should want. But you actually listen." Jessica's heart hammered against her ribs. "Of course I listen. I care about you." "I know you do," Ashley said softly. "I can feel it, you know? How much you care. It's like—" She paused, searching for the right words. "It's like you see me. Really see me. Not just the version of myself that I show to the world, but all of me." The air in the kitchen felt thick, charged with something Jessica couldn't name. Ashley was still holding her hand, her thumb still tracing those maddening patterns on Jessica's skin. The space between them seemed to shrink, as if they were being drawn together by some invisible force. "Ashley," Jessica whispered, but she didn't know what she was trying to say. "Don't marry him? I think I'm in love with you. Please don't break my heart by settling for someone who doesn't deserve you." Ashley's eyes dropped to Jessica's lips for just a moment, so brief Jessica might have imagined it, before snapping back up to meet her gaze. Something flickered in those green depths, something that made Jessica's breath catch in her throat. Then Ashley's phone buzzed against the table, shattering the moment like glass. She glanced at the screen and sighed. "David," she said, releasing Jessica's hand to answer the call. "Hey, babe." "Yeah, I'm at Jess's." "Okay, I'll be home soon." She hung up and looked at Jessica with an expression that seemed almost apologetic. "I should go." "He's making dinner." "Of course," Jessica said, her voice sounding strange and distant to her own ears. "Go. Enjoy your dinner." Ashley gathered her purse and keys, but she paused at the door. "Jess? Thank you. For listening, I mean, for not judging me." "Always," Jessica replied, because it was true. She would always listen, always support, always love Ashley from the safe distance of friendship, even if it slowly killed her. After Ashley left, Jessica sat alone in her kitchen as the shadows lengthened and the takeout containers grew cold. She replayed the conversation over and over, analyzing every word, every glance, every moment when Ashley's thumb had traced patterns on her hand. She told herself she was imagining things, reading too much into innocent gestures and friendly affection. But late that night, lying in bed and staring at the ceiling, Jessica finally allowed herself to acknowledge the truth she had been running from for months. She was in love with Ashley Campbell, desperately, hopelessly, completely in love with her straight best friend, who was about to get engaged to a perfectly nice man who would never understand her the way Jessica did. The realization should have been devastating. Instead, Jessica felt an odd sense of relief, as if finally naming the feeling had somehow made it manageable. She was in love with Ashley. It was impossible and painful and probably hopeless, but at least now she knew what she was dealing with. What she didn't know was that across town, Ashley was lying in her own bed next to her sleeping boyfriend, staring at her own ceiling and thinking about the way Jessica's hand had felt beneath hers. She was thinking about the way Jessica really listened when she spoke, the way she never tried to fix or change or improve Ashley but simply accepted her exactly as she was. She was thinking about how safe she felt in Jessica's presence, how natural and right it felt to reach for her hand, how the air between them had seemed to shimmer with possibility. And for the first time in her 26 years, Ashley Campbell was beginning to wonder if the life she had always assumed she wanted was actually the life she was meant to live. The next few weeks passed in a strange, suspended tension. Ashley didn't mention David's potential proposal again, and Jessica didn't ask. They fell back into their usual rhythm, coffee dates and movie nights and long phone conversations that stretched late into the evening. But something had shifted between them. Some invisible line had been crossed, and they both felt it even if neither acknowledged it aloud. Jessica found herself hyper-aware of every interaction. The way Ashley's fingers lingered when she handed her a coffee cup, the way she sat just a little closer on the couch during their weekly movie nights, the way she looked at Jessica sometimes, really looked at her as if she were seeing something new and surprising. It was during one of these movie nights that the second significant moment occurred. They were watching some romantic comedy that Ashley had chosen, curled up on Jessica's couch with a bottle of wine between them. The male lead was making some grand gesture, declaring his love in the rain outside his ex-girlfriend's apartment building, and Ashley made a sound of disgust. "God, why do men always think that's romantic?" she said, taking a sip of wine. Showing up uninvited, making a scene, putting all the pressure on her to respond in public. It's manipulative. Jessica glanced at her friend, surprised by the vehemence in her voice. "I thought you liked romantic comedies." "I do," Ashley said, then paused. "Or I thought I did. Lately they all seem so—" She gestured vaguely at the screen, where the couple was now kissing passionately in the rain. "False. Like they're selling this idea of love that doesn't actually exist." "What do you mean?" Ashley was quiet for a long moment, her wine glass cradled in her hands. On the screen, the credits were rolling, but neither of them moved to turn off the TV. "I mean, look at them," Ashley said finally. "They barely know each other. They've had maybe 3 real conversations in the entire movie. But we're supposed to believe that's true love? That's what I should want?" Jessica felt something flutter in her chest. "What do you think true love should look like?" Ashley turned to face her fully, tucking one leg beneath her on the couch. The movement brought her closer, close enough that Jessica could see the wine-flushed pink in her cheeks, could smell her vanilla perfume. "I think," Ashley said slowly, "true love should feel like coming home. Like you can be completely yourself with someone and know that they'll love you anyway. I think it should be built on friendship and understanding and shared laughter and the kind of intimacy that comes from really knowing someone." Jessica's heart was beating so hard she was sure Ashley could hear it. "That sounds beautiful, doesn't it?" Ashley's voice was wistful. "I keep waiting to feel that with David, you know. He's such a good man, and he loves me, but sometimes I feel like he loves the idea of me more than the actual me. Like he's in love with the version of myself that I perform for him." The words hung between them, heavy with implication. Jessica wanted to say something, wanted to tell Ashley that she knew her, really knew her, and loved every complicated, messy, beautiful part of her. But the words stuck in her throat. "What about you?" Ashley asked suddenly. "Have you ever felt that? That coming home feeling?" Jessica's mouth went dry. The honest answer was yes. She felt it every time Ashley walked into a room. She felt it when Ashley laughed at her jokes, when she called her late at night just to talk, when she fell asleep on Jessica's couch during movie nights, and Jessica got to watch her peaceful face in the flickering light of the television. "I'm still figuring that out," Jessica said again, the same non-answer she had given weeks ago, but Ashley was looking at her with those green eyes, really looking at her, and Jessica felt exposed, as if Ashley could see straight through to her heart. "I think you're braver than you give yourself credit for," Ashley said softly. "I think when you find that person, you'll know what to do." If only it were that simple, Jessica thought. If only love came with an instruction manual, a clear set of steps that guaranteed a happy ending. If only she could find the courage to tell Ashley the truth, that she had already found that person, that she was sitting right there on the couch beside her, that every day Jessica didn't tell her was another day of living a lie. Instead, she reached for the remote and turned off the TV, plunging them into the soft darkness of her living room. The only light came from the street lamps outside, casting long shadows across the walls. "I should probably head home," Ashley said, but she made no move to get up. If anything, she seemed to settle deeper into the couch cushions, her shoulder brushing against Jessica's. "You could stay," Jessica offered, the words tumbling out before she could stop them. "It's late and you've had wine. You could take the guest room." Ashley turned to look at her, and in the dim light, her face was soft and vulnerable. "Would that be okay?" "Of course," Jessica said, though her heart was racing at the thought of Ashley sleeping just down the hall, of waking up to find her in the kitchen making coffee, of sharing the intimate domesticity of a morning together. They sat in comfortable silence for a while, the wine and the darkness making everything feel dreamlike and suspended. Jessica was acutely aware of every point of contact between them, Ashley's shoulder against hers, their thighs touching, the way Ashley's breathing had deepened and slowed. "Jess?" Ashley's voice was barely a whisper. "Do you ever feel like you're living the wrong life? Like you're following a script that someone else wrote for you?" The question hit Jessica like a physical blow. It was so close to her own thoughts, so perfectly articulated, that for a moment she wondered if Ashley could read her mind. "Yes," she whispered back. "All the time. What do you think we should do about it?" Jessica turned to face Ashley fully, and suddenly they were very close, closer than they had ever been. She could see the flecks of gold in Ashley's green eyes, could feel the warmth radiating from her skin. "I don't know," Jessica admitted. "I'm scared to find out what my real life might look like." "Me too," Ashley breathed. "But maybe that's exactly why we need to find out." They stared at each other in the darkness, the air between them electric with possibility. Jessica felt like they were standing on the edge of a cliff, and one small step would send them tumbling into unknown territory. Part of her wanted to take that step, wanted to close the distance between them and see what happened. But the larger part of her, the part that had been protecting her heart for months, held her back. "We should get some sleep," Jessica said finally, though the words felt like a betrayal. Ashley nodded, but she didn't move away immediately. For a long moment they stayed frozen in that position, faces inches apart, breathing the same air. Then Ashley reached up and brushed a strand of hair away from Jessica's face, her fingers lingering against her cheek. "Thank you," she whispered, "for letting me stay. For listening. For being you." Jessica's eyes fluttered closed at the gentle touch. "Always," she managed. When she opened her eyes again, Ashley was pulling back, the moment broken but not forgotten. They said their goodnights and went to their respective rooms, but Jessica lay awake for hours, her cheek still tingling from Ashley's touch, her mind replaying every word, every look, every heartbeat of their conversation. Down the hall, Ashley was doing the same thing, staring at the ceiling of Jessica's guest room and trying to make sense of the feelings swirling inside her chest. She thought about David, probably asleep in his own apartment, probably dreaming about their future together. She thought about the ring he was supposedly planning to buy, the proposal he was supposedly planning to make. She thought about the life that was waiting for her, safe, predictable, approved of by everyone who mattered. Then she thought about Jessica, about the way she really listened, about the way she made Ashley feel seen and understood in a way that no one else ever had. She thought about the electricity she felt when their hands touched, about the way her heart had raced when they were sitting so close on the couch, about the strange, thrilling fear that had gripped her when she realized how badly she wanted to kiss her best friend. That last thought should have terrified her. Instead, it felt like the most honest thing she had thought in months. The morning brought an awkwardness that neither of them acknowledged. They moved around each other carefully in Jessica's kitchen, making coffee and toast with the polite distance of strangers. Ashley left early, claiming she had errands to run, and Jessica let her go without protest. But the conversation from the night before had opened something between them, some door that couldn't be closed again. Over the following days, their text conversations took on a different tone. Where before they had exchanged funny memes and plans for lunch dates, now they found themselves having deeper discussions about life and dreams, and the strange feeling of being trapped in someone else's expectations. "Ashley, do you ever wonder what would have happened if we had made different choices? Taken different paths?" Jessica, "All the time. Do you think it's too late to change course?" Ashley, "I don't know. I hope not. I feel like I'm just starting to figure out who I really am." Jessica, "I think you're braver than you realize. You're asking the right questions." Ashley, "I'm scared of the answers." Jessica, "Me too. But maybe that's how you know they're the right answers." It was during one of these text exchanges that Ashley made the decision that would change everything. She was sitting in her car outside David's apartment, staring at her phone and gathering the courage to go inside and have the conversation she had been avoiding for weeks. "Ashley, I'm going to break up with David tonight." The message appeared on Jessica's screen while she was in a meeting, and she nearly dropped her phone. Her heart started racing as she typed back. Jessica, "Are you sure? That's a big decision." Ashley, "I'm sure. I can't keep pretending to want a life that isn't mine. I deserve better than settling. We both do." Jessica stared at the message for a long time, reading between the lines, wondering what "we both do" meant. Was Ashley talking about both of them individually, or was there something more in that simple phrase? Jessica, "I'm proud of you. That takes courage." Ashley, "Will you be home tonight? I might need a friend after this." Jessica, "Always. I'll be here." That evening, Jessica paced her apartment like a caged animal, checking her phone every few minutes for updates. She had no idea how David would take the news, no idea what Ashley would need from her when it was over. All she knew was that something fundamental was shifting. Some tectonic plate in the landscape of their relationship was moving, and she had no idea what the new terrain would look like. Ashley's key in the lock came at nearly 10 o'clock. Jessica had been expecting tears, drama, the emotional fallout of a difficult breakup. Instead, Ashley walked through the door looking lighter than Jessica had seen her in months, as if some invisible weight had been lifted from her shoulders. "How did it go?" Jessica asked carefully. Ashley dropped her purse and keys on the counter and turned to face her with a smile that was equal parts relief and something that looked almost like joy. "It went better than I expected," she said. "I think part of him knew it was coming. He said he'd been feeling it too, the distance between us, the sense that we were both just going through the motions." Jessica felt a complex mix of emotions, relief that Ashley wasn't heartbroken, confusion about what this meant for their friendship, and underneath it all, a dangerous flutter of hope that she tried to suppress. "How do you feel?" Jessica asked. Ashley considered the question seriously, tilting her head as if taking inventory of her emotional state. "Free," she said finally. "Scared, but free. Like I can finally breathe again." She moved closer to Jessica, and there was something different in her demeanor, something more confident and purposeful than Jessica had ever seen before. "I keep thinking about what you said," Ashley continued, "about listening to my instincts, about not settling for something that doesn't feel right. I think I've been ignoring my instincts for so long that I forgot I had them." "What are they telling you now?" Jessica asked, though she wasn't sure she was ready for the answer. Ashley's green eyes met hers, and Jessica saw something there that made her breath catch. A clarity, a determination, a heat that she had never seen directed at her before. "They're telling me," Ashley said slowly, "that I've been looking for love in all the wrong places. That maybe what I've been searching for has been right in front of me this whole time." The words hung in the air between them, loaded with possibility and danger. Jessica felt her heart start to race, felt the familiar flutter of hope and terror that had become her constant companion whenever Ashley looked at her like this. "Ashley," she whispered, but she didn't know how to finish the sentence. "I know this is crazy," Ashley continued, taking another step closer. "I know this changes everything, but I can't stop thinking about you, Jess. I can't stop thinking about us, about the way I feel when I'm with you. It's like nothing I've ever felt before." Jessica's world tilted on its axis. This was the moment she had dreamed about and dreaded in equal measure. The moment when all her carefully guarded secrets threatened to spill out into the open. "What are you saying?" she managed. Ashley reached for her hands, the same gesture that had started everything weeks ago in Jessica's kitchen. But this time, there was nothing tentative about it, nothing that could be explained away as friendly affection. "I'm saying that I think I might be falling in love with you," Ashley said, her voice steady despite the magnitude of the words. "I'm saying that every time David kissed me, I was thinking about what it would feel like to kiss you instead. I'm saying that I don't think I'm as straight as I thought I was." Jessica felt like she couldn't breathe. This was everything she had wanted to hear, everything she had convinced herself would never happen. Ashley was looking at her with such honesty, such vulnerable hope, that Jessica felt her carefully constructed walls beginning to crumble. "I need you to know," Jessica said, her voice shaking, "that I've been in love with you for months, maybe longer. I've been trying so hard to hide it, to be the supportive friend, to not complicate your life. But Ashley, I love you. I love everything about you, and it's been killing me to pretend otherwise." Ashley's face broke into a smile that was like sunrise after a long, dark night. "Really?" "Really!" Jessica confirmed, and then Ashley was launching herself across the space between them, her arms wrapping around Jessica's neck, her face buried in her shoulder. Jessica held her tightly, breathing in the vanilla scent of her hair, feeling the solid warmth of her body, hardly daring to believe that this was real. They stood like that for a long moment, just holding each other, years of unspoken longing finally given voice. When Ashley finally pulled back, her eyes were bright with unshed tears. "I was so scared," she admitted, "scared that I was imagining things, scared that I would ruin our friendship, scared that you could never see me that way." "I've been terrified too," Jessica confessed. "I kept telling myself I was reading too much into things, that you were straight and I was just setting myself up for heartbreak." Ashley cupped Jessica's face in her hands, her thumbs brushing across her cheekbones. "Can I tell you something? Every time I complained about David, every time I talked about feeling like something was missing, I was really talking about you. You were what was missing. Us, this is what I've been searching for my whole life." Jessica's eyes fluttered closed at the gentle touch, at the words she had never dared to hope she would hear. "Ashley, can I kiss you?" Ashley whispered, and Jessica's eyes snapped open to find Ashley looking at her with such tender intensity that it took her breath away. "Please," Jessica breathed. Ashley leaned in slowly, giving Jessica every opportunity to pull away, to change her mind, to retreat back into the safety of friendship. But Jessica didn't want safety anymore. She wanted this, wanted Ashley's lips on hers, wanted to know what it felt like to be kissed by the person she loved more than anything in the world. When their lips finally met, it was like coming home and going on an adventure all at once. The kiss was soft at first, tentative, a question being asked and answered. But as Jessica's arms came up to wrap around Ashley's waist, as Ashley's fingers tangled in her hair, the kiss deepened into something more urgent, more certain. They broke apart, breathing heavily, foreheads pressed together, both of them trembling slightly from the intensity of the moment. "Wow," Ashley whispered. "Yeah," Jessica agreed, her voice hoarse. "Wow." They stood like that for a while, just breathing each other in, processing the magnitude of what had just happened between them. Finally, Ashley spoke. "So what happens now?" she asked. "I just broke up with my boyfriend. I just realized I might not be straight, and I just kissed my best friend. I have no idea what I'm doing." Jessica smiled, brushing a strand of hair away from Ashley's face. "I don't know either," she admitted, "but I know I want to figure it out with you. If you want that too." "I do," Ashley said immediately. "I want that more than anything. I'm scared, but I want it." "We'll figure it out together," Jessica promised. "One day at a time." Ashley smiled, that radiant sunrise smile that made Jessica's heart skip beats. "I love you," she said, as if testing out the words, seeing how they felt in her mouth. "I love you, Jessica Roberts." "I love you too, Ashley Campbell," Jessica replied, and the words felt like a prayer, like a promise, like the beginning of everything. They spent the rest of the evening talking, sharing all the thoughts and feelings they had been holding back for months. Ashley told Jessica about the moment she realized her feelings had shifted, about the way she had started comparing every interaction with David to the easy intimacy she shared with Jessica. Jessica confessed about the nights she had lain awake thinking about Ashley, about the way she had analyzed every touch and glance for hidden meaning. They talked about their fears, Ashley's uncertainty about her sexuality, Jessica's terror of losing their friendship if things went wrong. They talked about their hopes, the possibility of building something real and lasting together, the chance to love and be loved completely. As the night wore on, they found themselves curled up together on Jessica's couch, Ashley's head on Jessica's shoulder, their fingers intertwined. It felt natural, right? Like they had been doing this for years instead of hours. "I keep thinking this is a dream," Ashley murmured against Jessica's shoulder, "that I'm going to wake up tomorrow and you'll just be my friend again, and I'll have to go back to pretending I don't feel this way." Jessica pressed a kiss to the top of Ashley's head. "Not a dream," she said softly. "This is real. We're real." "Good," Ashley said, snuggling closer, "because I never want to go back to pretending. I want to be brave enough to live my real life, even if it's not the life everyone expected me to have." "You are brave," Jessica assured her, "braver than you know." They fell asleep like that, wrapped around each other on the couch, and Jessica woke the next morning to find Ashley still in her arms, hair mussed and face soft with sleep. For a moment, she just watched her, hardly daring to believe that this beautiful, complicated woman had chosen her, had been brave enough to upend her entire life for the possibility of something real. Ashley stirred, green eyes blinking open to meet Jessica's gaze. A slow smile spread across her face. "Good morning," she whispered. "Good morning," Jessica whispered back. "No regrets?" "None," Jessica said firmly. "You?" "None," Ashley echoed, and then she was kissing Jessica again, soft and sweet and full of promise. The next few weeks were a whirlwind of discovery and adjustment. Ashley moved some of her things into Jessica's apartment, not officially moving in, but spending more nights there than at her own place. They were learning how to be together, how to navigate the shift from friendship to romance, how to kiss and touch and love each other without the weight of secrecy between them. There were challenges, of course. Ashley had to deal with the questions from friends and family about her breakup with David, had to navigate her own confusion about her sexuality and what it meant for her identity. Jessica had to learn how to trust that this was real, that Ashley wasn't going to wake up one day and decide she had made a mistake. But there were also moments of pure joy, mornings when they woke up tangled together in Jessica's bed, evenings when they cooked dinner side by side in the kitchen, quiet nights when they talked about everything and nothing until the early hours of the morning. One evening, about 3 weeks after their first kiss, they were sitting on Jessica's balcony watching the sunset paint the sky in shades of pink and gold. Ashley was curled up in Jessica's lap, her head resting against her shoulder, both of them wrapped in a soft blanket against the evening chill. "I've been thinking," Ashley said, her voice thoughtful. "About what?" "About how different this feels from every other relationship I've ever been in. How easy it is. How natural. Like we were always meant to end up here." Jessica tightened her arms around Ashley, pressing a kiss to her temple. "I know what you mean. It's like we were already in love, we just needed to figure it out." "Exactly," Ashley said, tilting her head to look up at Jessica. "I keep thinking about all those times I complained about feeling like something was missing, about feeling like I was acting. I wasn't missing some mysterious quality in a man. I was missing you. I was missing this." Jessica felt her heart swell with so much love she thought it might burst. "I spent so many months convincing myself that what I felt for you was hopeless, that I was reading too much into our friendship. I never imagined you might feel the same way. I think part of me always knew," Ashley admitted. "I think that's why I was so resistant to David's proposal, why I kept finding excuses to spend time with you instead of him. My heart knew what my brain wasn't ready,